The night was silent on the great station known as the Harmony Core. This massive station was located near the center of the Milky Way. Many alien races lived and worked here, having arrived from thousands of star systems to discuss peace, trade, and laws for the entire galaxy. The main hall was shaped like a gigantic sphere, its walls made of a transparent material so that everyone could see the bright stars outside. Thousands of beings sat in rows. Some resembled tall, walking plants with glowing leaves. Others were large creatures with multiple arms and hard shells. Some were small clouds of light that floated and changed color as they spoke. They were all waiting for the daily meeting to begin. Suddenly, every screen in the hall went dark, not just the large wall screens, but every small panel and every ocular device. As all communication systems failed simultaneously, the air filled with a low hum. Then, a face appeared on every screen. It was a human face, a man, looking to be about 40 years old, with short hair graying at the temples. He wore simple gray clothing without any insignias or ranks. His eyes were calm, almost bored. Behind him was a window, and through it, everyone could see the massive spiral of the Andromeda galaxy. It was close, too close. The stars moved in perfect lines, like soldiers on parade. There were no wild flares, no random explosions, only pure order. The man spoke slowly and clearly. His voice sounded in all languages simultaneously, even the oldest ones that almost no one remembered. This is the final message from the citizens of Andromeda to every government, every fleet, every world of the Milky Way. Surrender now. You have 72 standard hours. If you do not surrender completely, you will be eliminated. There will be no more negotiations. There will be no second chances. Choose carefully. The face froze for 5 seconds, then the message began again. It looped. No one could turn it off. A long silence fell over the hall, followed by an uproar. The plant-like Zara shook their leaves in panic. Their translators screamed in high-pitched voices. The armored giants of Scravo rose so quickly that their chairs shattered. One roared and threw a metal table across the room. The clouds of light pulsed in red and orange, sending out intense signals that gave everyone a headache. At the central table sat the Supreme Herald Vintail of the Katarian Dominion. He was very old and very proud. His people had once ruled large parts of the galaxy and still told stories of burning entire planets when others did not obey. Vintail's 6 black eyes narrowed as he tapped a long claw against the table. "Human beings," he said in a deep voice, "are playing their games again." Everyone turned to look at him. A small diplomat with blue skin from the Wren system stood up. Her name was Ra, and she spoke quickly. "We haven't received news from Earth in nearly 200 years. After the first contact, they simply vanished. All their ships flew toward Andromeda. We thought they had perished there. The distance is too great. No one returns from Andromeda." Vintail laughed. It sounded like the grinding of breaking stones. "They did not perish. Look," he pointed to the screen. "They built something. Something big." The image behind the human man changed for a moment. It showed a black hole at the center of Andromeda. Surrounding this black hole was a ring of metal and energy fields, larger than any station anyone had ever seen. Ships moved around it like insects around a light, but these ships were not small. Each looked the size of a small moon. The message continued to play. 70 hours remaining. Surrender or be eliminated. Ra sat down, her hands trembling. How? How could they do this so quickly? An old scientist from the ice world of Calyx answered, his voice quiet with fear. Human beings reproduce quickly and change their machines rapidly. They do not wait hundreds of years to test new ideas. If they wanted Andromeda, they could take it. Vintail stood, his shadow falling over many seats. "We will send scouts. We will send our best ships. We will see what these monkeys have built, and then we will crush them." Many creatures nodded, some applauded, while others remained silent, remembering the stories of human beings from 300 years ago, when they had first left their tiny planet. Then, they were weak. Their ships were slow, their weapons simple, but they never stopped. They learned, they copied, they improved. And when other species laughed at them, human beings simply kept walking. Now, the laughter had stopped. In a small room, far from the main hall, a young human girl named Mara Cole watched the same message on her personal screen. She was one of the few humans living in the Milky Way. She worked as a translator for the conquered. No one trusted her fully, but they needed her because she understood human speech patterns better than any machine. Mara watched the man on the screen, She knew his face, not personally, but she knew the type. Calm, weary, tired of speaking. They actually did it, she whispered to herself. Mara had heard rumors for years. Traders who ventured to the edge of the galaxy said strange things that no signals came from Andromeda anymore. No trade, no war, no music, only silence. At first, everyone thought there had been a plague or a collapse. Now Mara realized it was not a collapse. It was control. She turned off the screen and her room plunged into darkness. Outside the window, she saw the slow rotation of the station and the infinite stars. 72 hours, she thought. Across the galaxy, ships began to move. On the military world of Tarkon, massive Qatarian battleships rose from their cradles, their engines burning with blue fire. Crews rushed to their posts. Weapons were loaded, shields tested. In the crystal cities, the Vega builders worked day and night, growing new defensive platforms from special seeds. The platforms would float in space, firing beams of pure light. In the deep hives, the swarm queens laid millions of new warriors. The young were born already knowing how to fight. They clicked their mandibles and waited for orders. Everywhere, the same question was asked in different ways. Can human beings really destroy us all? Nobody knew a good answer. Back at the Harmony Core, a small scout ship quietly departed. It did not belong to the Qatars or the Vega. It belonged to the Wren people. Lar herself was on board. She hadn't told anyone she was going. She just wanted to see. The ship jumped into superluminal speed, heading into the long, dark space between the galaxies. The journey would take many months, even at maximum speed. But Ra felt she had to go. She sat in the pilot's chair and looked at the star map. Andromeda was now marked with a red warning light. Lara touched the screen. "What did you find there, humans?" she asked the empty room. No one answered. On Earth, old Earth, which almost no one visited anymore, the wind wandered through empty cities. Tall buildings stood in silence. Plants grew through broken roads. Animals walked where people once lived. But deep underground, in hidden shelters, a few machines were still working. They were listening to the stars. One machine received the message from Andromeda. It recorded the words and sent them to an address deep within a hidden base on the far side of Pluto. The message arrived. A woman named General Elena Ruiz read it. She was already very old, her hair white, but her eyes were still sharp. She smiled a small, sad smile. "So, they finally sent the warning," she said to the empty room. She pressed a button. The screen lit up, showing live feeds from Andromeda. Billions of worlds, trillions of human beings, cities covering entire continents, ships capable of feeding on stars, and weapons capable of moving black holes. Elena Ruiz watched the image for a long time. Then she turned to the machine. "Send a reply to the Andromeda High Command. Tell them the Milky Way is not ready. Tell them the clock has started ticking." The machine beeped once. Elena leaned back in her chair and closed her eyes. Outside, the cold stars watched, and somewhere in the long darkness between the galaxies, a human scout ship flew home. It carried no weapons. It carried only one message: "We are waiting." The 72 hours had begun. The days that followed felt like waiting for a storm. Everyone in the galaxy knew the clock was ticking. 72 hours became 60, then 48, then less. Ships moved, messages flew between worlds. Fear grew everywhere. In the military shipyards of Tarkon stood the largest ships of the Qatarian Dominion. They were black and sharp as knives. Each ship had a cannon capable of destroying moons. The crews were tall and strong, wearing armor made from the bones of old enemies. Their leader was Admiral Zarvak, larger than most Qatarians, with long black claws. He stood on the bridge of the flagship, the Wrath of Stars. Zarvak looked at the star map. A red line showed the path to Andromeda. It was very long. Even with faster-than-light engines, it would take months to cross the empty space between the galaxies. But he didn't care. He cared about victory. "We go now," he said in his deep voice. "We will see these humans. We will see their toys. Then we will crush them." Other officers clicked their claws in agreement. The engines roared, and the entire fleet jumped into superluminal speed. Hundreds of ships vanished from normal space, leaving only blue flashes behind. At the same time, smaller groups left from other places. The crystal people of Vega sent scientific ships with strong shields. The insect swarm sent scouting parties full of fast fighters. Even the peaceful Wren sent one hidden ship. Elara was still on it. She wanted answers more than war. All these ships flew toward the same target, the edge of the Milky Way, then the long darkness, then Andromeda. Months passed for the rest of the galaxy, but for the ships, time moved differently due to their speed. Stars stretched, days became hours. The first to arrive was a small Qatarian scout named Fang's Shadow. It dropped out of the jump near the outer arms of Andromeda. The pilot expected chaos, perhaps burning worlds, perhaps fighting fleets, perhaps nothing. What he saw was perfect order. Stars moved in clean lines. Some had rings, others had massive mirrors catching the light. Planets glowed with city lights forming perfect patterns. No wild radio noise, no dirty signals, only silent power. The scout sent the images home, then it moved closer. That was its mistake. A tiny object appeared on the sensors. It was smaller than a fighter, looking like a black sphere without lights. The scout tried to scan it. The scan failed. Then the sphere spoke. "Unidentified ship. What is your origin and purpose?" The Qatarian pilot laughed. "We are the Qatarian Dominion. We have come to see who is sending threats." Silence for 2 seconds. Then the sphere replied, "Origin confirmed. Purpose. Hostile observation. You are not welcome." Before the pilot could fire, the black sphere split into 10 smaller spheres. They moved too fast. They touched the scout ship in different places. The metal simply unfolded. No explosion, no fire. The ship fell apart like wet paper. The crew managed to scream once, then nothing. The last message from Fang's Shadow was short. "They are here. They see everything." Then, the signal died. Back in the Milky Way, leaders watched the recording many times. Fear grew. Then the main Qatarian fleet arrived. Admiral Zarvak brought 200 large ships. They arrived together in the center of Andromeda as if expecting a battle. They wanted a battle. What they found was a single station floating near the largest black hole anyone had ever seen. The station was round and smooth. It had no exterior weapons, no lights, only a perfect silver ring. Around it moved thousands of small ships that looked like needles. Zarvak stood on the bridge and smiled with all his teeth. "This is all they have? One toy station?" He gave the order. "All ships, Delta pattern attack. Break that ring." Lasers fired, missiles flew. Space lit up with color. The station did nothing. Then, space changed. A field appeared invisible until the weapons hit it. Every laser bent. Every missile turned and flew back toward the ships that had sent them. Explosions occurred inside the Qatarian shields. Ships fell apart. Screams filled the radio airwaves. Zarvak roared, "Shields to maximum! Find a weak spot!" A new voice sounded over every speaker on every ship. It was calm, female, and spoke in perfect Qatarian. "You should not have come this far." On the main screen, a woman appeared. She had short black hair and wore the same gray clothing as the first man. She looked young but tired. "My name is Commander Aishalin," she said. "This is Andromeda Control. You are in restricted space. Turn around. Go home. Tell your leaders that time is 46-0. Zarvak roared, "We do not run from monkeys." Aishalin looked at him as if he were a child. "You have already lost half the fleet. Look." The screen showed the battle. Qatarian ships were burning. Small human drones moved between them. Each drone touched a ship once, and that ship stopped moving. Engines went silent. Weapons went dark. The crews were alive but locked in. Zarvak felt a chill. "What do you want?" Aishalin answered slowly. "We want peace, but peace on our terms. Surrender, or we will come to you." She vanished from the screen. The remaining Qatarian ships tried to flee. Some managed to jump, most did not. The drones followed them. They were faster. They were smarter. Only 12 ships escaped. They limped home with broken hulls and terrified crews. When they arrived in the Milky Way, they told the story. No one laughed at human beings anymore. The small Wren ship Lara was on arrived later. She stayed at a distance, using her best cloaking systems. Lara watched from a safe range. She saw the station. She saw the drones. She saw how the black hole was used as a tool energy coming out in clean beams. Those beams could reach galaxies if necessary. El-Ra wrote everything down and sent the data back in a small probe. Then she whispered to her ship, "Move us closer, just a little." The ship moved slowly, too slowly. A drone found them anyway. It appeared right in front of them without warning. Lar froze. The drone spoke in that same calm voice. "Wren ship, you are not hostile. You may leave, but listen to this. 40 hours remain. Choose life. The drone flew away. La wept not from fear, but from understanding. Human beings hadn't just taken Andromeda. They had changed it, made it better, faster, stronger, and now they were looking at their old home. She turned the ship and set a course for the Milky Way. On the way home, she thought about the first human explorers. 300 years ago, they were weak. Small ships, little weaponry. Everyone laughed. Now no one was laughing. At the Harmony Core station, the leaders met again. This time no one shouted. They spoke in quiet voices. Vintail of Qatar was there, his face looking older. We lost many ships. Their weapons are not like ours. They do not fight. They eliminate. Lara arrived a few days later and showed her recordings. Everyone watched in silence. The scientist from Kix said, "They control stars. They move black holes. They create wormholes intentionally. This is not war. This is engineering." Someone asked the hardest question. Can we stop them? No one answered. Yes. Far away, on a hidden world near the galactic edge, the human General Elena Ruiz watched the new messages. She sat in her deep room beneath Pluto. On the screen was Andromeda. They were showing the battle. They were showing the drones. She smiled that small, sad smile again. "They are doing well," she said to the empty room. She pressed a button, and a new message played. It was short. To the Andromeda High Command. The Milky Way is still resisting. Many want to fight. I will now give them one more sign. Make it clear. The message flew quickly through hidden paths in space. In Andromeda, Commander Aishalin received it. She stood on the large station, watching the black hole, watching her galaxy clean, safe, full of human beings living good lives. She gave the order to prepare a demonstration shot. Target: an empty sector at the edge of the galaxy. Low power. Just show them. Technicians worked quickly. Energy built up. A beam formed. It was thin. It was white. It passed through special tunnels in space. It arrived in the Milky Way in minutes. In a quiet corner of space, near the stars, a beam appeared. A circle 12 astronomical units wide became nothing. No light, no matter, just void. Then it closed. A small black hole formed, fed on dust for a few seconds, then vanished. Every telescope in the Milky Way saw it. Every leader saw it. Here came the new message. The same calm voice. 24 hours remain. This was a warning. Next time, we will aim at a world. Panic arrived quickly. Some worlds surrendered immediately. Flags changed. Messages were sent. We accept. Others prepared for war. Fortresses grew. Ships flew. Weapons were charged. But deep inside, many knew. The clock was almost at zero, and the human beings were coming. The galaxy changed in those last 24 hours. Some worlds went quiet. Others became loud with fear and anger. Messages flew between the stars faster than ever. Old enemies talked to each other. Old friends argued. Everyone asked the same question in different words. What do we do now? At the Harmony Core station, the large hall was full again. But this time, no one shouted. The air felt heavy. The transparent walls showed the stars outside, but they looked colder. Now, Supreme Herald Vintail of Qatar stood in the center. His armor was scratched from battle reports. His 6 eyes looked tired. He spoke slowly. "We sent our best. We lost them. Their machines are faster, smarter. We cannot match them in open battle." The crystal creature from Vega glowed pale blue. Her name was Celera, one of their oldest thinkers. She spoke with a voice like the ringing of glass. "Then we will not fight openly. We will hide. We will wait. We will build deeper fortresses. We will make plans for a long war." Many heads nodded, but not all. The small Wren diplomat stood up. It was Ra again. She had returned from the edge. Her blue skin looked pale. Her voice trembled slightly. "I saw their station. I saw their drones. They do not hate us. They do not want revenge. They want order. They think we are disorderly, dangerous, like children with fire." Someone laughed bitterly. "Children? They threaten to erase us!" Ra looked at the floor. "They gave us time. 3 warnings. The first, on all screens. The second, with their battle. The third, with the empty circle in space. This is not hate. This is patience that is ending." Vintail turned to her. "You sound like you agree with them." Elra raised her head. "I do not agree, but I understand. Human beings have always been like this. They fix things, they clean things. They do not stop until everything works their way." Silence reigned again. Then, from the depths, an old voice sounded. It was the scientist from the ice world of Kix. Dr. Core. He was very thin. His skin was almost transparent, like his eyes. I have old files, he said. Files from 300 years ago, when human beings first left their system, when we laughed at their small ships, their weak engines, their short lives. He pulled up a hologram. It showed young humans in old spacesuits, smiling, waving at cameras, building their first station outside of Earth. Look at them, said Dr. Core. They didn't have the best technology, but they had hunger. They asked questions. They tried, failed, tried again each time, faster. The hologram changed. It showed timelines, numbers, maps. Year 0, first contact. We ignored them. Year 50. They send ships to Andromeda. Sleeping ships. Slow, but many. Year 100. They arrive, begin to build. Year 150. They terraform dead worlds, create air, water, food. Year 250. The last native race in Andromeda surrenders or vanishes. The hologram showed a final image, the Andromeda galaxy from afar. Each star system had clean lines, perfect orbits, no lost heat, no chaos. Dr. Core turned off the hologram. They did not conquer with large armies. They conquered with time, with change, with never stopping. Vintile slammed the table. Then why did they come back? Why not stay in their new home? Lara answered quietly. Because this is still home, Earth, the soul, the Milky Way. They left family here, old friends, old enemies. They think we need fixing, too. Someone whispered, they think we are broken. In the room, there was a long silence. Far away, on a hidden world near the galactic edge, a human man named Captain Jonas Reed watched the same clock. He lived in a small base under a mountain. The base was old, built 300 years ago when humans first went to Andromeda. Jonas was born in Andromeda. He had never seen Earth, but he knew the stories. His parents told him, his teachers told him, the machines told him. He sat in a dark room. The screens showed live feeds from the Milky Way. Messages of surrender were arriving. Some worlds raised white flags, others built final defensive structures. Jonas touched the controls. A voice sounded. It was Commander Aishalin from the Andromeda station. Captain Reed, report. Jonas spoke clearly. Many are still fighting. Katarians are building walls around their main worlds. Vega is growing new crystal shields. The swarm is birthing more soldiers. They will not bow their heads easily. Aishalin's face appeared. She looked just as calm, as tired. We knew that, she said. We hoped for the best, but hope is not a plan. Jonas asked the question everyone wanted to ask. Anna, will we really eliminate them? Aishalin looked away for a second, then returned. Only if they force us. We do not want graves. We want order, safety for everyone, even for them. Jonas nodded slowly. And if they fight to the end? Then we will finish it cleanly, Aishalin said. Without pain, without long suffering. They will simply disappear. The call ended. Jonas leaned back. He looked at a small photograph on his desk. It was old Earth, blue oceans, green lands, white clouds, a place he had never seen but felt in his bones. He whispered, "Come home soon." Back at the Harmony Core, a new message arrived. Not from Andromeda, but from old Earth. It was General Elena Ruiz. Her face looked older than before, white hair, deep wrinkles, but strong eyes. She spoke to the entire galaxy, to all screens, to all mind links. I am Elena Ruiz, the last commander of the Defense of the Soul. I stayed when others left. I have watched you all these years. I have watched you fight each other, steal, burn, ignore warnings. Human beings are returning not to destroy for pleasure, but to stop the disorder. You have hours left. Surrender, live by the new rules, or fight and lose everything. This is not a threat. It is the truth. The message ended. Many worlds plunged into darkness after that. Lights went out, people hid in shelters, some prayed in their own way. But not everyone. On Tarkon, Admiral Zarvak gathered the remnants of his fleet. Fewer, but still angry. He stood before his crews. "We will not bow to the monkeys. We will die free." Loud cheers arose. Rage on Vega. Solera ordered the last crystal seeds planted. Giant fortresses grew in hours, shining, hard, beautiful. In the hives, the swarm queens screamed orders. New warriors hatched. Millions were ready to die. They all knew time was short. Then the clock hit 0. No big sound, no explosion, only lights in the sky. All over the Milky Way, wormholes opened. First small, then large, human ships passed through not one fleet, but many fleets from different directions. Perfect timing. The ships were not beautiful. No gold, no flags, only gray, functional vessels covered in sensors and weapons that did not look like weapons. They did not attack immediately. They waited. A new voice sounded. Again, Commander Aishalin, this is the final call. Surrender now. Lower your shields. Disable your weapons. We will enter. We will speak. No one will die today if you choose correctly. Some worlds complied. Shields lowered. Weapons went silent. Small shuttles landed. Humans in gray suits stepped out calm, polite, but firm. They gave papers, new rules, new maps, new governments under the observation of human beings. But not all complied. Nadhar ships attacked first. They rushed the nearest human fleet. It ended quickly. Human drones appeared small, many. They touched the Nadhar ships. Systems went silent. Engines stopped. The crews remained alive but could not move. Zarvak's flagship was the last. He stood on the bridge, watching the drones come. He laughed once. You have won nothing. A drone touched his ship. Everything plunged into darkness. Later, he woke up on a human transport. Alive, angry, but alive. Vision fortresses fired bright beams. The beams hit the human shields. Nothing happened. Then the human beams replied thin, white, precise. The fortresses cracked like glass. The shards drifted away slowly. Celera watched from her last city. She saw the end approaching. She sent one message before the end. We were beautiful once. The city fell into silence. The swarm sent waves, billions of fighters, like angry insects. The human ships opened their bays and released them. Millions of small drones emerged. They met in space. Short, cruel, clean. The swarm queens watched as their children died. One by one, the hives went silent. In the end, only a few worlds continued to fight. The human ships surrounded them. No bombs, no fire, only a field. Shields blocked. Time inside slowed down. People inside aged normally, but outside, seconds passed. Then the fields opened. Human beings entered, taking control without blood. General Elena Ruiz watched from her deep base. The screen showed everything. She saw the surrender, the silence, the end of the small battles. It is over, she said. She sent a final message to Andromeda, to Commander Aishalin. The Milky Way is safe. Begin Phase 2. Rebuild, teach, lift them up. The message left. Elena closed her eyes. Outside, the stars shone quietly. The galaxy awaited its new morning. The galaxy looked different after the first day. In many worlds, there was now a quiet sky. No more bright trails of engines, no more patrol ships flying in angry circles. Human ships hung in orbit like patient observers, gray and simple. They did not shoot unless someone forced them to. Most places did not force them. On the old capital world of the Qatarian Dominion, Tarkon Prime, the sky remained dark for the first time in centuries. The massive black battleships that once filled the spaceports had vanished. Some floated dead in high orbit. Others were taken apart by human drones, their pieces now forming neat rings around the planet raw material for future use. Admiral Zarvak sat in a large room that was once his command center. The walls were still black stone, the table still scratched from old claw marks, but now the lighting was dimmed, and he was not alone. A human sat opposite him. The human looked about 35 years old. Short hair, calm face. There were no weapons on his belt, only a small tablet in his hand. My name is Major Kaichen, said the human. I am here to talk. Zarvak stared at him with all 6 eyes. Talk? You have already taken everything. Kaichen shook his head slowly. We took your ability to harm others. That is different from taking everything. Zarvak laughed once. It sounded dry. You call it mercy. I call it the beginning. Kaichen replied, Your people are alive. Your cities stand. Your young are safe. We could have finished everything in an hour. Zarvak leaned forward. His claws tapped the table. Why? Kaichen looked directly into the black eyes. Because we remember what it was like to be small, to be an object of ridicule, to be pushed aside. We do not want to become those who pushed us aside. A long silence followed. Then Kaichen pushed the tablet across the table. These are the new conditions. Read them, sign them, or not. But know this. If you fight again, next time there will be no room for talk. Zarvak read it twice. Then he looked up. Do you think we will bow forever? Kaichen stood. We do not need bows. We need silence. I mean, we need safety for everyone, even for you. He walked to the door. Before leaving, he turned. 24 hours to make a decision for your entire dominion. After that, the monitors will begin their work. Choose. The door closed softly. Zarvak sat alone. He looked at the tablet for a long time. On Vega, the crystal city still shone, but many spires had gone dark. The great beams of light that once protected them were turned off. Human shuttles landed on the largest platform. Not soldiers, but teachers, engineers, doctors. Solera met them at the top of the highest tower. Her body glowed faintly green, almost sad. A human woman stepped forward, carrying a box of small crystals. Data capsules. We brought gifts, the woman said. Solera looked at the box. Gifts after you destroyed our fortresses? Nadia nodded. We destroyed the fortresses so you could stop destroying yourselves. These capsules contain new designs, better energy, cleaner light, no more waste. Your cities can grow again, brighter, without harming the star. Solera took one crystal. It was warm. She saw an image inside, blueprints for new towers that would drink starlight and return it as gentle rainbows. Why help us? She asked. Nadia smiled slightly. Because beauty matters. We do not want to erase it. We want to keep it safe. Solera looked at her city. Parts were still broken. Parts were still beautiful. She touched the crystal again. And if we say no? Nadia's smile vanished. Then the monitors will draw closer. They will watch. They will wait. One day your children may choose differently, but today, you choose for them. Solera closed her fingers around the crystal. Light danced between its facets. Good, she said. I will call the council. In the deep hives of the swarm, things were harder. The queen still lived, but many chambers were empty. The nurseries that once buzzed with millions of new lives now were silent. Human fields slowed time in combat zones. The warriors who rushed forward had not died in fire. They simply stopped, froze, then were carried away. Now, a team of humans walked through the largest hive. They wore suits protecting against the acidic air. They carried no weapons, only lanterns and small machines. The Queen Mother Zakat met them in the royal chamber. She was massive, her body occupying half the space. Her many eyes watched every movement. A human man stepped forward. His name was Dr. Elias Marrow. He spoke through a translator that clicked in the swarm's language. We have come to offer a path forward. Zakat's mandibles moved slowly. You killed my children. Elias shook his head. We stopped them. They live on ships, in storage, safe, fed, sleeping. You can have them back when the fighting is over. Zakat clicked loudly. Anger, pain. Why should I trust monkeys? Elias looked up at her. Because we could have destroyed the hives. We did not. We want partners, not corpses. He opened a case. Inside were small capsules. Each contained one larva alive, growing, but slightly altered. Stronger shell, smarter mind, less rage. This is for you, said Elias. A gift to show that we can help your people grow better, not weaker. Zakat looked at the capsules for a long time. Her antenna touched one. She felt the life inside. Her voice grew quieter. What do you want? Stop the endless reproduction for war, Elias replied. Reproduce for life, for thought, for building. We will share food technologies, water technologies, space. You can spread again, but not for conquest for life. Zakat was silent for a long time. Then she turned to her daughters. Bring the old queens. We will talk. Far from all this, on the edge of the galaxy, the small Wren ship Ra was on still flew. She hadn't surrendered yet. She didn't know why, perhaps fear, perhaps hope, perhaps both. She watched the news feeds. Worlds accepting conditions, ships leaving. Human beings walked through old streets not as conquerors, but as builders. One day, a human shuttle found her. It matched her speed and opened a channel. A familiar voice. Commander Aishalin. Lara, we know you are there. Come home. Lara looked at the screen. Home? I have no home anymore. Aishalin looked gentle. You have the Wren system. It still stands. Your people signed the conditions this morning. They asked for you. They want their diplomat back. Lara felt tears. Good. And if I say no? Aishalin sighed quietly. Then you will fly forever in solitude. We will not pursue you, but the galaxy is moving forward with you or without you. Lara looked out the window. Stars. Infinite stars. She thought of the first message, the calm face, the warning. She thought of the empty circle in space. She thought of her people, who were waiting. She pressed the button. I am returning. The shuttle sent a docking tube. Lara crossed, slow steps. When she reached the other side, Aishalin was waiting, no guards, just her. Aishalin extended a hand. Welcome. Lara took it. On old Earth, General Elena Ruiz sat in her deep chair. Green lights lit up on the screen, one by one. Surrenders accepted, new maps being drawn by themselves. She smiled, this time a real, not sad smile. A young aide entered, a boy from Andromeda, born there, who had never seen Earth before this trip. General, most major powers have signed. Small groups are still resisting, but they are few. Elena nodded. Good. Inform the Andromeda Command. Phase 4 begins soon. The boy looked curious. What is Phase 4? Elena looked at the stars on her largest screen. The Milky Way and Andromeda were now linked a bridge of ships and stations. Phase 4? That is teaching, she said. Show them how to live better, how to stop breaking things, how to grow. The boy smiled. Like parents? Elena laughed quietly. Something like that. She stood slowly. Old bones. Come with me. They went to the surface. Cold wind, old ruins, new plants sprouting through cracks. Elena looked at the sky. 2 galaxies now hung there, one large, another smaller but closer. A thin bridge of stations linked them. We did it, she whispered to the wind. And far away, in the long darkness, a small ship still flew without a flag, without a home. It honored the last captain who had not signed. It looked back once, then turned the ship toward the long darkness. It chose freedom in solitude. The rest of the galaxy chose something else. They chose tomorrow. Years passed since the last shot. The galaxy didn't look the same. Old borders had faded. Old wars became stories told to children. New roads of light connected stars that once stood far apart. Ships moved between the Milky Way and Andromeda like cars on a busy street. People from both galaxies traveled back and forth. They carried ideas, they carried food, they carried hope. On Earth, the real Earth, not the empty shell it was before greenery spread again. Cities rose anew, not high and cold as before, low buildings with open roofs, gardens on every wall, rivers flowing clean through the streets. Children played where the old ruins once stood. General Elena Ruiz lived to see the opening of the first schools. She now walked slowly with a cane in one hand. A young Andromedan girl held her other hand. The girl's name was Mira. She was born on a world near the core of Andromeda. Her skin was a soft brown color, like her mother's. Her eyes were bright, like her father's, who had once been a Qatarian soldier. Elena stopped at the edge of the park. She looked at the running children. Some were scaled, others had leaves for hair, some glowed faintly when they laughed. They all spoke in one new language, a mixture of old dialects and simple human words. Mira pointed. Look, Grandma Elena, they are playing the star game. Elena smiled. The star game was new. Children used small lights to create patterns in the air. They tried to copy real star maps. Whoever made the cleanest pattern won. No one fought over it. They just tried again if they failed. Elena sat on a bench. Mira sat beside her. Tell me again, said Mira. About the day everything changed. Elena looked at the sky. 2 galaxies now hung there, one large, another smaller but closer. A thin bridge of stations linked them. I was old even then, Elena began. We waited underground. We listened to the stars. When the message came, the final warning, I knew the time had come. Mira listened with big eyes. We didn't want to hurt anyone, Elena continued. But we couldn't allow the old ways to continue. Too many died in old wars. Too many worlds burned. Too many children never grew up. Mira touched Elena's hand. Did they hate you? Some hated, Elena said. For a long time, but hate fades when stomachs are full and the heavens are safe. We gave them time, we gave them help, we gave them rules that made sense. A small human boy ran up. He held a glowing ball. Grandma Elena, look what I did! He threw the ball up. It split into many lights. They formed the shape of Andromeda and the Milky Way connected together. Elena slowly clapped. Very good, little one. Very clean. The boy grinned and ran off. Mira asked quietly, Are you happy now? Elena thought for a long time. I am tired, she said. But yes, I am happy. We fixed what we could. The children will fix the rest. High above, on the great station that was once the Harmony Core and was now called the Unity Node, Commander Aishalin stood by a wide window. She watched ships arrive and depart. Goods, people, ideas. A man approached her. It was Major Kaichan, aged, with gray in his hair but still calm. "Ma'am, another convoy from Tarkon," he said. "They sent food, real Katarian grain. They say it grows better now with our soil technology." Aishalin nodded. "Good. Send them our new engine design in return, the one that uses less fuel." Kaichan smiled slightly. "They will love that." Zarvak signed the request himself. Aishalin turned. "Zarvak is still alive, still angry," replied Kaichan. "But he now teaches young Katarians how to fight smart, not wild." Aishalin looked back at the stars. "And Ra?" "She leads the Ren exchange program," Kaichan answered. "Young Ren are going to Andromedan schools. Young humans are going to Ren art galleries. She says that art helps us remember why we do this." Aishalin touched the glass. Cold, but the view was warm. "We didn't want an empire," she said quietly. "We wanted a family." Kaichan put his hand on her shoulder. "We got it. Far, far away, at the edge of the galaxy on a quiet world orbiting a gas giant, a lonely Katarian ship drifted. It was small, old, made by Katarians. The last captain who had never signed lived there alone. His name was Vrog, once a proud warrior, now just old. He sat in the pilot's chair. The screen showed news from afar. New cities, new schools, a new world. He watched for a long time. One day, a small shuttle found him. It matched his speed and opened a channel. A young human face appeared. Not angry, not demanding. "Captain Vrog," said the human. "My name is Taro. I am from the support service. We bring food, medicine, books without conditions." Vrog stared at the screen. His claws were dull, his eyes tired. "Why?" he asked harshly. Taro answered simply, "Because you are still one of us, still part of the family even if you stay here." Vrog looked away, looked at the stars, and thought of old battles, old pride, old blood. Then he looked back. "Send the food," he said, "and one book. Something new." Taro smiled. "We will bring it." The shuttle sent a small container. It docked softly. Vrog opened it later. Inside were food packets, medicine vials, and one thin book. The title was simple, Stories from Two Galaxies. Vrog read slowly. When he finished the first story, he wept quietly alone, but no longer angry. On a green world in Andromeda, a human family lived in a house by the sea. Father was born in the Milky Way, mother in Andromeda. Their daughter was born here. A girl named Sosora sat on the beach. She drew on the sand 2 spirals, connected. Her father sat beside her. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Home," Sosora said, and he smiled. 2 houses, 1 big home. Sosora looked up. "Will we ever fight again?" Father thought. Then he said, "Maybe humans make mistakes, but now we have rules, teachers, friends from all over. If anyone wants to fight, many others will say, 'No.'" Sosora nodded. "Good." She erased the drawing on the sand with her foot, then began again. This time, larger, cleaner. In the deep station in the heart of Andromeda, the black hole still spun, but now it was a tool, not a weapon. It powered entire sectors, clean, infinite. An old woman stood on the observation deck. It was Aishalin, now retired but still watching. A young engineer approached. "Commander, sorry, Senior Lin, the new long-range communication channel is open. Travel time cut in half." Aishalin nodded. "Good work." The engineer hesitated. "They say you were there at the beginning." Aishalin looked at the black hole. "I was. Was it hard?" asked the engineer. Aishalin smiled sadly. "Yes, very hard, but worth it." She turned from the window. "Go home to your family," she said. "Tell them the stars are safe tonight." The engineer left. Aishalin remained. She whispered to the silence, "Thank you, all of you, those who listened, those who fought, those who forgave." Outside, 2 galaxies slowly rotated together. No more warnings, only comfort. On Earth, Elena Ruiz died peacefully one night. Many came to her funeral from all worlds, from all nations. They did not cry loudly. They sang quiet songs from old Earth, songs from Andromeda, songs from the places between them. Mira stood in front. She had grown up, strong. She spoke simple words. She gave us time. She gave us a chance. We took it, but we made it better. After the funeral, people slowly dispersed. Children ran ahead, laughing. Above them, the sky was full of lights, ships arriving, ships departing, a new bridge between homes, and somewhere in the long darkness, Even Vrog turned his ship toward the light, not quickly but steadily. They were chosen not to destroy, but to build forever. Centuries had passed since the two galaxies became one home. The old names, Milky Way and Andromeda, were now just words in history books. Everyone called it the Union, or simply home. The stars moved in gentle patterns, guided by engines that were once weapons. Planets that once fought over borders now shared oceans and skies. Children learned to speak with their minds as easily as their voices. Time flowed slower, safer, kinder. On the ring world that orbited a calm yellow star once called Sol, but now simply Source, a festival was held every year. The festival was called Remembrance Day. It was not a day of sorrow, but a day of gratitude. The ring world had no name in the old tongues. Everyone just called it the Circle. It was enormous, wide enough for seas, forests, and cities, thin enough to see the curve of the sky. If you looked far, lights raced along the inner side like rivers of stars. People lived there of all the old races: humans, Catarians, Wren, Vega, Crystal people, descendants of the swarm, and many new kinds born of mixing genes and love. This year, the festival was larger than usual. A new generational ship had just returned from a long journey to a third galaxy, Triangulum. The ship carried stories of new worlds, new friends, new questions. In the central plaza, a flat green field larger than the old continents, people gathered. No kings, no presidents, only circles of seats made from living wood that grew itself each season. In the center stood a simple stone table. No words were carved on it, only two smooth spirals touching at one point. Everyone knew what it meant. An old human woman approached the pillar. Her name was Ara Chen, the great-granddaughter of Major Kaichin. She was small, with silver hair and a long braid. Her eyes were still as sharp as her ancestors. She carried no notes. She would never need them. She raised her hands. The crowd went silent. Even the wind seemed to listen. "Today we remember," Ara said in the common tongue. Her voice reached every mind on the ring through gentle links. "Not fear, not warnings, not battles. We remember the choice." She touched the pillar. A soft light rose from it. Above the crowd appeared holograms, small, gentle scenes. A face of a young human from long ago speaking, "Ares, surrender or be eliminated." Then the same face, older, sitting under another tree on another world, speaking quietly to a child of a different species. "Because we could have finished everything, but we did not. We chose tomorrow." Then, children with different skin playing together on a beach. Then, old Zarvak planting a tree instead of sharpening his claws. Then, Ra teaching in an open school. Then, Aishalin smiling on the bridge. The holograms slowly faded. Ara spoke again. "Our ancestors could have finished everything. They chose not to. They chose the hard way. They chose the long way. They chose us." A young Katarian boy, tall, with short black claws and bright eyes, stood in the crowd. "Elder Ara," he asked, his voice deep but polite, "do you think they would be proud?" Ara looked at him, then at the thousands around her. "I think they would be surprised," she said. "Surprised that we listened so well. Surprised that we kept walking after they were gone. Surprised that we did not repeat the old mistakes." She smiled slightly. "But yes, I think they would be proud." Music began low. Soft chimes of Vega, deep drums of the swarm's hearts, human strings, wren flutes all together in one song that had no name, but which everyone knew. People stood. Some danced slowly. Some held hands between species. Some just watched with teary eyes. A small swarm girl, her shell a pattern of soft green flowers, approached Ara. She carried a flower of light, a new technology that never died. "For you," said the girl, "from the children of the third arm." Ara took it. The flower glowed warmly in her hands. "Thank you," she whispered. Later, when the music slowed and people began to head home, Ara stayed by the pillar. A man joined her, older than her but still strong. His name was Torin, half human, half wren. His eyes were blue like the old earth seas. "You told the story differently this year," he said quietly. Ara nodded. "I left out the parts that hurt too much." Torin looked up. The heavens of the circle clearly showed both old galaxies, no longer divided, but just one large spiral with arms reaching everywhere. "Do you ever think," he asked, "what would have happened if they had never sent the warning?" Ara thought for a long time. "We would still be fighting petty wars," she said, "burning worlds for pride, starving children over borders, hating because someone looked different. We would have remained small, mean, afraid. Torin touched the pillar. Instead, we grew. Ara placed the light flower at the base. It remained there, glowing softly. Yes, she said. We grew far, far away. On the silent moon orbiting the gas giant, the old archive slept. The archive was not a building. It was a living crystal the size of a small mountain. Inside, memories slept, not just words and pictures, but feelings, thoughts, moments. A young researcher came to the crystal every year on Remembrance Day. Her name was Kalia. She was mostly Vega crystal, but with human eyes and swarm curiosity. She placed her hand on the surface. The crystal warmed, opened. Inside, she walked through memories like rooms. One room showed Elena Ruiz closing her eyes for the last time. Another showed Aishaline laughing on the bridge. A third showed Zarvak reading Stories from Two Galaxies with tears on his old cheeks. A fourth showed Vrog, docking his lonely ship and stepping onto the station for the first time in decades. Kalia stopped at the oldest memory. It was dark, a deep room beneath Pluto. General Elena looking at screens, sending the last message. The words sounded quietly in the crystal. Phase 4. Rebuild. Teach. Lift them up. Kalia felt the emotion that accompanied the words, not triumph, not anger, only hope. A tired hope, but real. She whispered to the crystal, "We are still trying." The crystal pulsed once, warm, like a nod. Kalia left the archive. Outside, the moon was silent. Stars above, stars below in the clouds of the gas giant. She looked toward the center of the Union, where new ships were already being planned for journeys to even more distant galaxies, not for conquest, but for meeting, for learning, for exchange. On the circle, the festival slowly ended. Lights went out, people walked home, some into trees, some into water domes, some into flying nests. Ara and Torin walked along a path strewn with flowers that glowed when stepped on. Torin asked, "What do you want for the next century?" Ara stopped, looked at the sky. "I want children to ask what war was, and not understand the answer." Torin nodded. "I want them to think the warning was just a fairy tale, a scary story for the night from long ago." They walked on. Above them, a ship flew a new wing-shaped design heading toward Triangulum. Inside the ship, a mixed crew laughed. Human beings, Katarians, Wren, new species never named before. They carried gifts, seeds, songs, questions. One young crew member, a girl with crystal skin and a human smile, looked out the window. She whispered to the darkness, "Thank you for the hard choice." The stars did not answer. They didn't need to. They just kept shining quietly, cleanly, together. And somewhere in the long darkness, where Vrog's lonely ship once drifted, nothing drifted anymore. Vrog had turned. He docked at a small station at the edge. He lived quietly. He told travelers stories. Stories of pride, of loss, of coming home. One night, he looked at the two galaxies. They looked like one now. He smiled with his old teeth. "Enough," he said. Back at the New Harmony, Ra and Aishaline watched the sunset. Two suns, actually one from each old galaxy. They met in the sky like old friends. Aishaline spoke quietly. "Elena would have loved this." Elora nodded. She saw the beginning. "We see the middle. Our grandchildren will see what comes next." Aishaline stood with the help of her cane. "Ha, then let's make it better." They walked slowly down the hill. Children waved, beetles glowed, flowers opened for the night. No more final warnings, only open doors, only shared mornings, only tomorrow, and the stars forever connected, shining quietly and brightly. Centuries had passed since the two galaxies became one home. The old names, Milky Way and Andromeda, were now just words in history books. Everyone called it the Union, or simply home. The stars moved in gentle patterns, guided by engines that were once weapons. Planets that once fought over borders now shared oceans and skies. Children learned to speak with their minds as easily as their voices. Time flowed slower, safer, kinder. On Earth, the real Earth, not the empty shell it was before greenery spread again, cities rose anew. Not high and cold as before. Low buildings with open roofs, gardens on every wall, rivers flowing clean through the streets. Children played where the old ruins once stood. General Elena Ruiz lived to see the opening of the first schools. She now walked slowly with a cane in one hand. A young Andromedan girl held her other hand. The girl's name was Mira. She was born on a world near the core of Andromeda. Her skin was a soft brown color, like her mother's. Her eyes were bright, like her father's, who had once been a Katarian soldier. Elena stopped at the edge of the park. She looked at the running children. Some were scaled, others had leaves for hair. Some glowed faintly when they laughed. They all spoke in one new language, a mixture of old dialects and simple human words. Mira pointed. "Look, Grandma Elena, they are playing the star game." Elena smiled. The star game was new. Children used small lights to create patterns in the air. They tried to copy real star maps. Whoever made the cleanest pattern won. No one fought over it. They just tried again if they failed. Elena sat on a bench. Mira sat beside her. "Tell me again," said Mira. "About the day everything changed." Elena looked at the sky. 2 galaxies now hung there, one large, another smaller but closer. A thin bridge of stations linked them. "I was old even then," Elena began. "We waited underground. We listened to the stars. When the message came, the final warning, I knew the time had come." Mira listened with big eyes. "We didn't want to hurt anyone," Elena continued. "But we couldn't allow the old ways to continue. Too many died in old wars. Too many worlds burned. Too many children never grew up." Mira touched Elena's hand. "Did they hate you?" "Some hated," Elena said. "For a long time. But hate fades when stomachs are full and the heavens are safe. We gave them time. We gave them help. We gave them rules that made sense." A small human boy ran up. He held a glowing ball. "Grandma Elena, look what I did." He threw the ball up. It split into many lights. They formed the shape of Andromeda and the Milky Way connected together. Elena slowly clapped. "Very good, little one. Very clean." The boy grinned and ran off. Mira asked quietly, "Are you happy now?" Elena thought for a long time. "I am tired," she said. "But yes, I am happy. We fixed what we could. The children will fix the rest." High above, on the great station that was once the Harmony Core and was now called the Unity Node, Commander Aishalin stood by a wide window. She watched ships arrive and depart. Goods, people, ideas. A man approached her. It was Major Kaichin, aged, with gray in his hair but still calm. "Ma'am, another convoy from Tarkon," he said. "They sent food, real Katarian grain. They say it grows better now with our soil technology." Aishalin nodded. "Good. Send them our new engine design in return. The one that uses less fuel." Kaichin smiled slightly. "They will love that." Zarvok signed the request himself. Aishalin turned. "Zarvok is still alive. Still angry," replied Kaichin. "But he now teaches young Katarians how to fight smart, not wild." Aishalin looked back at the stars. "And Ra? She leads the Ren exchange program," Kaichin answered. "Young Ren are going to Andromedan schools. Young humans are going to Ren art galleries. She says that art helps us remember why we do this." Aishalin touched the glass. Cold, but the view was warm. "We didn't want an empire," she said quietly. Kaichin put his hand on her shoulder. "We got it." Far, far away, at the edge of the galaxy on a quiet world orbiting a gas giant, a lonely Katarian ship drifted. It was small, old, made by Katarians. The last captain, who had never signed, lived there alone. His name was Vrog, once a proud warrior, now just old. He sat in the pilot's chair. The screen showed news from afar. New cities, new schools, a new world. He watched for a long time. One day, a small shuttle found him. It matched his speed and opened a channel. A young human face appeared. Not angry, not demanding. "Captain Vrog," said the human, "my name is Taro. I am from the support service. We bring food, medicine, books, without conditions." Vrog stared at the screen. His claws were dull, his eyes tired. "Why?" he asked harshly. Taro answered, "Because you are still one of us, still part of the family, even if you stay here." Vrog looked away, looked at the stars, and thought of old battles, old pride, old blood. Then he looked back. "Send the food," he said, "and one book something new." Taro smiled. "We will bring it." The shuttle sent a small container. It docked softly. Vrog opened it later. Inside were food packets, medicine vials, and one thin book. The title was simple, Stories from 2 Galaxies. Vrog read slowly. When he finished the first story, he wept quietly alone, but no longer angry. On a green world in Andromeda, a human family lived in a house by the sea. Father was born in the Milky Way, mother in Andromeda. Their daughter was born here. A girl named Sosora sat on the beach. She drew on the sand 2 spirals, connected. Her father sat beside her. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Home," Sosora said, and he smiled. 2 houses, 1 big home. Sosora looked up. "Will we ever fight again?" Father thought. Then he said, "Maybe humans make mistakes, but now we have rules. Teachers, friends from all over. If anyone wants to fight, many others will say, no." Sosora nodded. "Good." She erased the drawing on the sand with her foot, then began again. This time, larger, cleaner. In the deep station in the heart of Andromeda, the black hole still spun. But now it was a tool, not a weapon. It powered entire sectors. Clean, infinite. An old woman stood on the observation deck. It was Aisha, now retired but still watching. A young engineer approached. "Commander, sorry. Senior Lin, the new long-range communication channel is open. Travel time cut in half." Aisha nodded. "Good work." The engineer hesitated. "They say you were there at the beginning." Aisha looked at the black hole. "I was." "Was it hard?" asked the engineer. Aisha smiled sadly. "Yes, very hard, but worth it." She turned from the window. "Go home to your family," she said. "Tell them the stars are safe tonight." The engineer left. Aisha remained. She whispered to the silence, "Thank you, all of you, those who listened, those who fought, those who forgave." Outside, 2 galaxies slowly rotated together. No more warnings, only comfort. On Earth, Elena Ruiz died peacefully one night. Many came to her funeral from all worlds, from all nations. They did not cry loudly. They sang quiet songs from old Earth, songs from Andromeda, songs from the places between them. Mira stood in front. She had grown up, strong. She spoke simple words. She gave us time. She gave us a chance. We took it, but we made it better. After the funeral, people slowly dispersed. Children ran ahead, laughing. Above them, the sky was full of lights. Ships arriving, ships departing, a new bridge between homes. And somewhere in the long darkness, even Vrog turned his ship toward the light, not quickly, but steadily. They were chosen not to destroy, but to build forever.